and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the greatest podcast on earth. Yes, I am talking about Players First, where the gamers, devs, and all around speak to the things that bring us all together, and that is video games, movies, TV shows, and all forms of entertainment. And of course, you got your lovely host, your boy, you love him, you think about him day and night, Kasuna, me, the legendary one himself. But there's more to it. Is that out in the sea? Is that my boy Zebo, the man, the myth, the legend himself? Say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? Make sure follow me over at Azebo Bethel on everything. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. Right, I think that's about my whole list. So yeah, just make sure you follow me there. I do a lot of reviews, I do a lot of like critiques, I do a lot of reaction videos. I have a lot of stuff going on, so check me out. And yeah, glad to be here. What's going on?
Of course, it's always happy to have you here, but do y'all hear that? If there was a thought, a sound to what it sounds like to think, that would be Army 2 Willis, and let me hear you call him out for him, because you know him, you love him, he's the encyclopedia, the brains to the operation. If you need some information, he's the man to go to. So why don't you say what's up to the people?
Hey, what's up? But I thought Einstein was the...
Hey, yo, we ain't talking about that. We're going to move past that. We're going to move past that. We're going to move past that. They don't need to know.
Give them your equation for gravity?
Hey, we ain't worried about that. We're going to let you be the brains. I'll keep the looks. You got the brains. But nonetheless, there's something we need to talk about. Something that kind of flew under my radar for so long that kind of took me by surprise. And now that I've experienced it, I'm kind of mad. And that is Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, or what you call it, that one with Miles Morales. That was amazing. Oh my God, that was such a good movie. I'm gonna be honest, leaving me on a cliffhanger pissed me off a little bit, but God, that was so good. God,
is this the first
movie?
Or second one?
Wait, is there another one that came out?
Yeah, there's one that came out in theaters this year. It's like the second one. So you're talking about the first one.
This is the one where, that Prowler sound came from, where there's Miguel and Gwen and all the other multiverse and all that stuff.
No, you said Miguel? No, that's the second one. No, that one is good too.
I was taken away. Completely flabbergasted on how good that movie was. Because
really good.
The flipping animations, the different ways you could see it, the overall storyline, that was such... It's been a while since I could sit down and truly enjoy a movie like that. Last time I remember just being taken in by a movie was Django Unchained, and that was for personal reasons. So finally sitting down and enjoying a movie. Hey, yo. Watching Django was something different.
I'll say that movie had a lot of great undertones. The overall message for Miles, just... That whole idea of writing your own story.
Django take you for a ride?
Django.
Absolutely.
Everywhere Django went. No, like that whole idea of writing your own story and not like forcing or letting other people force you to be who they want you to be. And and it's like, this is how it's supposed to be, and you have to be like this. And he's like, no, I'm gonna be who I want to be. And then just the idea that
the whole Spider-Verse, and he came out on top. Beautiful.
Yeah. And then just the idea that like he was the oddball, so to speak, because his ways of going about things were a bit unconventional, and it was outside of it. They didn't want him in it, but it was his and is his unconventional ways that always tend to be what is needed in those groups. So how that all turned around and how he made the different friends because of not following the rules, and then those ended up being the people that were coming to save him at the end. It was a lot of cool stuff.
I'll be honest, I kind of want to see Prowler Morales more than Spider-Man Morales, because Prowler Morales with the braids?
Yeah, Prowler with the braids. I'm
not gonna lie, that dark look in his eyes. They took his daddy, so he took the city. I'm not gonna lie, I love that energy. That was beautiful.
Problem House with the braids is official. Like, it's like, yeah.
My man as Prowler was hitting like Predator.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, he was a better Prowler than his uncle. I'm gonna be honest. The new generation of Prowlers looking way better. I feel like we lost something giving them the Spider-Man, but you know what? I'm not gonna be mad. Both can exist. Clearly.
I hope that plays out like in the third one. I hope that plays out a lot more. Like
How
getting
plays
to
out
see
in what
that
way?
Prowler, like
Right.
getting to actually see more of Miles as a Prowler, like Prowler Miles versus regular Miles, of course, but like really getting to explore the universe, because a lot of the other universes we were able to explore more in the movie, and I hope it's not as quick as Gwen just kind of shows up.
Pulls them out.
And it's already a fight. I hope we get to kind of explore the Prowler universe some more, which I think they
Because I
will.
kind of feel like they should talk about it.
Yeah,
like, one other person died. Just one person died, and it's a completely different like scenario going on.
Yeah.
Like Prowler dies, Spider-Man exists. The Captain dies, Prowler's running around just doing some who knows what. And it's I kind of like the dark undertone, which kind
What
of
if there's a swap, right?
Yeah, it was a bit. But
no, but what if he does like a swap and he's like, okay, well, I'll keep you here and then I'll take my hair out and I'll go back with your people and act like I'm you. You know what I mean? Like,
that would be an interesting turn.
Yeah, that would be dope.
But I don't even think Prowler is a villain. I think he had just an anti-hero.
Go on that. I thought they pretty much straight up said
like
he was
a
villain.
Punisher kind of guy.
More like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. He just out to get his vengeance.
Sure.
Nothing else really matters. Whereas villains, they looking to control other people and maintain some kind of form of control over everybody else.
Right.
And not really about vengeance. They might use control. They might use vengeance as their reason for wanting control.
Right.
But they're more control freaks.
Right.
Whereas heroes are control freaks that are trying to maintain the order as it is.
Right.
The villains are trying to create a new order.
Right.
Anti-heroes are just kind of just out there doing their own thing. They almost like a neutral character where they'll fight the hero because the hero will get in their way, but they'll also fight bad guys if they get in their way.
Right.
Like, they don't take sides.
But if you're looking at the Prowler the way I see Prowler, he without a doubt is a villain. He's just a villain with a cause, but every villain thinks they're one with a cause. He's just doing it for survival, but that's an extreme version of survival. He's literally robbing people. He's literally stealing shit. Like, he's not doing any good. Like
Robin Hood robbed people, but we don't call him a villain.
You don't call him a villain. That motherfucker was a villain. Like, I'm not gonna deny it. He robbed people. That is villainous activity. To deny that is
He wasn't a villain.
He was a villain. We just like him.
We don't call Batman a villain, and he was beating the snot out of people.
He is a villain. That's the whole thing about Batman.
No,
He's a vigilante.
A vigilante, which is not a villain.
A vigilante is a villain. That means you're going above the laws to take law into your own hands.
Let's put it this way. If Batman shows up on the scene, police is there, and they're not there to help him. I have nothing to say.
Well, there was a whole scene. There was a whole time where Batman had to run from the police because he knew he was going to get caught. And if he got caught, it was going to be bad.
In the beginning.
But
then what were they doing? But they were no different than our congressman. They just turned their back to whatever Batman was doing.
Because he was successful. He was successful at it.
Exactly.
But let Batman catch a body. Let him catch a body by accident. They're going to have to be on his ass.
No, did you not see Batman vs. Superman? Did he not catch several bodies in that movie?
I refuse to allow that. That movie don't exist. That movie don't exist to me. Until DC gets it right, that movie, I scrub that one.
Did several people not die?
Bruh, when Superman's on the scene, you're guaranteed 3 bodies minimum. The only reason we see Superman as
Batman was killing people, and they were like, you killed them. He's like, no, they're sleeping.
They're sleeping. Yo, Batman puts them to sleep fast. By the way, Batman is my favorite, Marvel. DC hero.
Sleep. You literally just exploded that man. There's nothing sleep about him.
I mean, he'll wake up when he's ready.
Like Batman was in Extraction with Chris Hemsworth.
But still, nonetheless, these are still villains to me. And here's the thing.
No, the only villain is the man that wrote that Batman Noir.
Oof. I mean, I'm not gonna deny that part. Then you know what? No. There's been a lot of bad Batmans in my aspect of
Batman took a fucking Charger from the hood and just slapped some fucking grates on it. Was like Batmobile. Hell no.
No, Chargers hit. Chargers hit. We gonna pretend like Chargers aren't nice cars? If there was gonna be a Batmobile, I would drive the Batmo Charger. Bro, I would drive that.
No, I can afford better than that. I'm Elon Musk, but I got the budget of Tyrone ass out of here.
Hey, yo, you telling me you see a Charger driving by and you see the bat symbol on that? You're not gonna peep it?
Nah, shut up.
If I see a Charger going by with a bat symbol on it, I'm gonna see like 15 police cars behind it.
Absolutely, because Batman is absolutely a villain. No, he's still a villain.
They really need to clap whoever in that vehicle.
Absolutely, because
they got drugs.
Because it's Batman with Tim's on. That's why they want him out.
Bro, a Batman with a Charger belongs at the car show. Like, it does not belong in Bruce Wayne's possession. Like, stop it.
Man, Bruce Wayne just couldn't afford
Batman. A Charger with the bat symbol on it is sitting on a corner in your city right now, waiting on somebody to get the drug.
And I'm gonna be honest. Safest I've ever felt in that city. The safest.
when Bruce Johnson is there. Bruce Jones.
But nonetheless, I do think the new Spider-Man is gonna be fire. Great. If I had to critique the movie, I would say 9 out of 10. Because y'all can't be leaving me on a cliffhanger like that. I don't. Yeah. I wanted to get to the end. I was visibly upset when I was like, "That's it? No. You can't tease me like that for 3 hours. I needed more." Oh, I hate when a story doesn't end. But that's nonetheless. To anyone else who watched it, y'all hyped it up, but y'all didn't hype it enough to me. That thing flew under the radar and messed with me. But nonetheless,
if you watch Into the Spider-Verse, Into the Multiverse, I believe it's called. The second one just came out.
I believe it's Into the Spider-Verse.
It's Into the Multiverse for the second.
It's the second one. Let us know what you thought. Like, we thought it was dope. If you thought so, let us know. Yeah. If not,
if anybody wants to throw any wrenches in there for me to like destroy the continuity for me, I'll take it because I want to see some stuff.
I like a lot of things about it. I felt like towards the end it drug, and I felt like the music choices weren't as good as the first one. The music choices, the music choices in the first one felt like that just belonged in the Miles Morales movie. Right. But in the second one, it was just kind of like, what's going on?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little disappointed that this kid is from New York and supposedly around like the Queens area, but I don't hear any
Brooklyn, first of all.
Oh, Brooklyn. So he should be Brooklyn. There should be some Biggie plans at some point.
There was Biggie in the first one.
But I didn't hear any of I barely heard any rap in the second one.
No. Like Will said, that the music choices for the second one were not as intricate as the first one. The first one, they definitely made sure to make you feel like you were in New York City. It felt like you were a mix between, you had the black and the Latin elements, which are both Miles, and you felt it all throughout the city, everywhere he moved.
True.
Especially, I'll just highlight real quick, that scene with him and his uncle spray painting in the subway will forever be the most hip-hop thing I've ever seen in an animated movie, because like that was like almost all the elements. Only thing missing was like breakdancing, but like everything else was there.
And the most
it was clean.
The most thing I ever equated with a superhero was being what can only be described as a black man falling in love with a white woman. Got me right in my heart. I did not see that coming. I didn't know I was going to be represented that way. It was nice to see it on the big screen. Dr. Umar's going to hate me. But nonetheless, let's move on.
You thought you were never going to see it. And that's been the common trope on big screens since the beginning of time.
Hey,
listen.
I didn't think it was going to be seen like that.
Equal rights and justice for all, all right? So my sisters, my good sisters, all right? I'm here with you, all right? I'm going to leave right there. Thank you.
We are not going to touch that topic. So let's move on to the next one. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we just must ask you for a moment to consider this topic. The president, the CEO, or whoever's in charge of Capcom says the price of video games is a bit too low and there should be a price increase. And just to balance out development costs. Now, I personally feel I don't disagree with them, but I don't agree with them at all because I feel like prices for games fluctuate a lot. I don't remember the last time I just paid $60 for a full game without me feeling like there's going to be more to buy later. Except for Baldur's Gate 3, because Baldur's Gate 3 is fantastic, and they're the outlier. But let me put it out to my other two. Do you guys agree with the president of Capcom? Has the price of video games been too stagnant for too long? Should there be an increase? No, not at all.
No, and no. I'm going to tell you why. No, let me stop. But I'm not as emphatic and excited about it, but I really think it's a flat out no. I'm going to tell you why. Because there hasn't been any change in what it takes to develop a game at all. Like, I think, if anything, there have been upgrades that have caused efficiencies. The way that pipelines run, the way that critical path runs with project management, the way that everything is set up right now, the way that the technology is, the way that we handle Scrum and Agile development, the way that, if you're handling your money properly, everything is set up for development of a video game right now. Right? We're still early in video game infancy, like as far as like how long the industry's been around, but we have some practices that we're able to grab from like software development, architecture, so on and so forth, for like the project management portion of development. So there is some type of understanding, at least, to how we're going to make these games, how we're going to track our milestones, and how we're going to balance our resources and our time against the amount of money we have to make this product. And they have been doing this for a while now at a high quality state, and the price point has been low, and that has not been an issue. Right? One of the things that, as a consumer, I was able to at least agree with was the fact that you were giving me a CD-ROM, or you were giving me a cartridge, or you were giving me something that you had to manufacture, right? Like, we started off having to use hardware to port, or we had to port our games to hardware in order to deliver and distribute it to the consumer. So there was a need for an external thing in order for this medium, right, to be delivered. Now there isn't. We have the internet. We have Game Pass. We have PS Now. We have Steam. We have all these different distribution platforms that give us direct access to these games without without any need for any of the manufacturing costs and any of the other shipping and the hard labor, like external hard labor costs outside of just developing the game. Which means a lot of that money should and needs to, if it isn't, but should be going back into the company towards development, which means that the consumer should not have to carry that cost in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I really feel that this idea that we need to pay more is really just more cash grabbing. It's really just more of well, it's been this way for a while, let's make it higher because it continues to grow kind of thing coming from this guy. And as a CEO, I guess I understand from a business perspective, needing to get the money to keep things rolling or trying to do things on a higher level. But I don't see how the consumer should have to carry the burden of the game company's lack of I'm assuming proper allocation. I mean, I'll pass over to you, Will, to kind of let you chime in, but like, I really don't think that anything has happened but freeing up costs in terms of not needing these external labor costs with hardware and manufacturing and all these different things, to the point where the consumer should be paying less. And if we're not, and we're still paying the same current price point, that you guys now have more money to play with because you're not spending this money out there. And I'll go ahead and pass it over to you.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Will. Let's see what you got on the subject.
You hit the nail on the nose. I'm 100% in agreement with what you're saying. And I think, just to go even further with what you're saying, the process of making games has gotten significantly cheaper than 30 years ago.
Sure.
Oh?
I don't need everybody that works for me to be in the same building. I don't need to rent a building space. I can contract out. I can do all this over the internet. I can use free programs like Discord and Slack and Trello to do all the management and communications between my project. Mm-hmm. I can track stuff through, I can't even think of the name, UWork and all kinds of Era, and there's all kinds of applications that make the process easier, where I can agree with what his statement is, but I don't agree with him. Because you're a Capcom, you have tons of money. Whatever overhead costs you have that you're saying you need more money for games, that's because of mismanagement. Like, if I'm running Activision, there is no way in hell I'm paying some other company to run servers and give me shitty servers when I have the money to run my own damn servers. Okay. And it'll be significantly cheaper to do it that way.
Absolutely.
These companies keep looking at the bullshit. Now, if you're an indie developer, 100%, yes. it is more expensive for you to try to get into the gaming industry and make games because you have shitty people like Unity trying to make it even harder, and you got shitty people like Microsoft and PlayStation and Valve and Epic Games. Well, Epic Games is a little friendlier, but there's caveats to it where you got to use their store and their engine. But you shouldn't be taking 30% for all the work that I put in.
Right.
I got to pay you 30%. I got to pay this guy 30%. I got to pay 30% to my employees. That's already 90% of the money. I still got to then take out 5% for taxes, 10% for using credit cards because the credit card company want they take on it. They don't include what the server overhead costs. Like,
gotta be,
as an indie developer, the numbers is just
literally
it makes it hard for you to come in this industry, especially in a online industry where it's already costing you money before your game even get in the hands of people to pay for these servers. Whereas if I'm making a single player game, I don't have to worry about those server overhead costs. But with people like Unity, I'm gonna have to now worry about how many people download my game. And I'm a person that was an avid person who promoted Unity before because I said, look, when it comes to their architecture and UI, it is more user friendly than Unreal. It's been that way. Unreal's come a long way with Unreal 5, but it's more user friendly. And then for people looking to make 2D games, it's still better on Unity than it is on Unreal. But with those new costs, with the new costs associated, because I personally been making my game on Game Maker engine because at the time, Game Maker kind of does what Unity and Unreal does now. But at the time, I paid for my license of the Game Maker engine up front. So I wouldn't have to pay them 30% when my game comes out. But I'm now telling people just go Game Maker because why would I want you to lose 20 cents per download when you have no idea how many people are going to download your game? And it could have cost you 30 grand to make this game, but that could have been your year of wages that you poured into this game to get it out there. And now you're not even going to see a dime thanks to just shitty practices by companies that have money. Like your enterprise already cost me $3 grand per person. Why did you need to take more money from me, the little guy, instead of taking from the big guy who got the money? Like that's where I just don't. I say I'm on both sides of the court, but I lean heavily towards the hell no, you shouldn't increase the price.
Okay.
I say for the little guy, their price should increase, but it shouldn't be from us, the consumer. It should be from all the other people involved in the party. They need to decrease what they're taking from these little guys. Because if they decrease what they're taking from the little guys, in the long run, the dividends will pay because their games will grow, they'll make more money, and therefore these companies like Unreal or Xbox will get larger shares because they have a larger customer base that this company is now reaching from the gains that they're gaining. But greed's the bottom line to all of this.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I could see this from both sides. The price of developing games, I'm not gonna pretend hasn't gotten more significant. It has, but it's a price that we never gamers never asked. Like, I don't know why Call of Duty is like $500 million to just put out a game every year. That's wild that they asked for $500 million to make the game when I think they could be cheaper. But if they are going to put in that kind of expense, what's up?
More.
It's more now?
You said $500 million, way more.
Shoot.
Way more.
At that point, they gotta make the money back. If they're putting the investment into the game, they gotta get something back. Now, I personally agree that asking for more money, if the quality of the game is there, I wouldn't disagree with it. Because I have played some games that I dropped $70 for, which I can't pretend I didn't enjoy. Like EA's Star Wars, like Fallen Order, Last Survivor. Like, those games were absolutely phenomenal to me. And I didn't even mind that I dropped $70 for it. At the time, I was a little about it. But at the end of the game, I was truly, the quality was there. I was happy. It was a great game. And I only paid $70 for it. I didn't have to buy any other DLC. I didn't have to do anything else. So it felt like a fair deal. So I wouldn't mind if the increase was from like 60 to 70 if the quality is behind it. Now quality is a little subjective to some people. Like, some people don't, even that game, somebody might not be agreed that $60 was like fair. But to me, it was. But I like Souls-like games. And if you can feed me a Souls-like game and it's like really top tier quality to me, I don't mind spending the money on it. But I think there should be a tier list of how much you can charge. Like AAA companies, I think there should be a cap. Like $70, no higher. Because there's already collector's editions. There's already digital deluxe editions. I don't remember the last time most people bought a normal game for $60. That wasn't Baldur's Gate 3. Where it was a full game straight up. Like, there's always some extra stuff behind it. But I still agree that they should be allowed to do it. Because I do believe in the free market, and if it's your property, you do as you want with it. So I'm not going to be like, y'all can't do that. But I can see why they would. Like, Capcom has been putting out some bangers. Like, all their remakes, bangers. And they weren't crazy expensive. Resident Evil 2, I paid, $30 for it. Great game. I can't wait till they make Resident Evil 5. I want to see how they do that. I'm gonna ignore that because Resident Evil 2 was fun. It was fantastic. The remake was great. And I think they're doing some great things, and they should be paid for it. Like, I like some of their remasters and their remakes. I don't know if I would agree to paying $70, but I don't mind paying $60 for those. What's up? All right. Feel like you got something to say. Go ahead.
No. It's a remake. What is really being remade? Let's give it the real name it should have. It's a reskin.
Are we not? Okay, and?
Did it cost them what it cost them initially to reskin it? No.
Are we gonna pretend like it was cheap? They rebuilt the game from the ground up.
If you charge $60 initially and you turn around and saying, hey, you want what I could have got as a mod for free for $60 more, you can go ahead and kick rocks.
I didn't see the Resident 2 remake mod anywhere.
I don't agree with that.
There's got to be a limit between a mod and a remake.
You got mods for everything, believe me.
Bro, I didn't see one out there.
And
Resident Evil 4 is fantastic.
This is a slippery slope. This is a slippery slope that everybody just gets in on the bandwagon because Nintendo, who games are 5 gigabytes, charging you $60 and $70 for a game that's 5 gigabytes.
That's fair.
Meanwhile, the competition got a 170 gigabyte game and they charge you $70. So are you trying to tell me that both of these games are weighted the same? They're not. They're not graphically on the same level. They're not hourly on the same level. They're not story-wise on the same level. They're not sound-wise on the same level. So how can you charge me the same amount of money for 2 games that are nowhere near the same in comparison?
I'm going to be honest. Nintendo seems like the devil to me when it comes to pricing. Because Breath of the Wild came out at $60 and they not once put that thing on sale. Not once did they do that.
Tell me this. Are you going to go buy a Toyota Corolla for $75K?
No,
sir.
Why not?
Because it's a Toyota. Wait, what year? Money. What year? If it's a 2030, if it's a 2030 Toyota Corolla right now, they got a future car that I can buy right now for $70K. I'll think about it.
You can get a 2024 Corolla right now.
Nah,
for $70.
I said it has to be a 2030 Corolla.
Or you can get the brand new 2024. I don't know what we want to use. We'll say the Lexus G36
for $75
for the same price. Which one are you? Do you feel like that the Toyota Corolla should be priced the same as that car?
Nah, I mean, against a Lexus, that's not fair. That's not fair.
A Toyota Corolla.
A Corolla's reliable. You could probably make that $75 off of that.
I didn't say it wasn't reliable. That's not the argument. I didn't say Breath of the Wild isn't a good game. That's not the argument. The argument is, did it cost them the same, and are you getting the same amount of money worth of game at the same price?
Well, now we're talking quality. Now we're talking quality of a game, and how do you price quality? How do you price quality?
Value.
But we're talking value, not quality. If you tell me if I get to go buy a movie, and the company say we want $30 for you to own this movie, and this movie is a 3D 4K masterpiece with top tier sound and everything, and it comes with the new Dolby Atmos built into it and all that shit, and the extra features. I feel like 30 is worth it. But then if somebody come to me with this B-rated movie and it's like the sound quality sound like somebody was breathing, and then they might, and they like, yeah, this $30,
right?
I mean,
you're like, well, I like the other King Kongs, and this some B-rated nobody I ain't never heard of that made a King Kong. Wasn't even in theaters, but he want 30.
I mean, if they drop Black Dynamite 2 for $30, I'm buying that.
But hear me out. Everybody's over here hyping it up, which a lot of reviewers do. They hype the shit out of movies that are not worth the hype. Do you think they both worth $30? No.
Shoot, I'm struggling to find a movie that's worth $30 by itself. Like, you gotta be.
I think the Avatar and the Avatar 2 will work that.
$30
in terms of what was put into those movies, yeah.
I could drop $10, maybe $15 to watch the movie, but I gotta pay for snacks. I gotta pay for so much. $30 for the ticket alone.
I'm not talking about in theaters. I'm talking about to own it. Just like I'm making a video game comparison. We own the video game.
I guess
we're not paying to go play the video game for 3 hours.
Okay,
I'm saying if I want to go spend $30 to own it versus spending $30 to own Sharknado 5.
Hey, yo, Sharknado 5 probably hit. Sharknado 5 probably fire.
I'm not spending $30 on Sharknado 5.
Okay.
I spend $3 on Sharknado 5, but I'm not spending $30 on it. And I don't agree with spending $70 on Tears of the Kingdom. And you try to tell me, well, we could get it to you for $60 if you buy these vouchers. Kiss my ass, Nintendo. Right. I'm not buying your vouchers, and it's not worth that much money. Especially being that all these people buying this shit for your Nintendo Switch, and you know damn well this time next year you're going to be dropping the new Switch. Switch Pro, Switch 2, whatever the fuck y'all want to call it.
And they still won't drop the price on anything either.
There's a new one coming out, but y'all just also released a Nintendo Switch OLED Mario edition, right? Because y'all like to fuck people with money. It's greed. That's the way I see it. It's just pure fucking greed.
All right, you next, Zebo. What's up? You sound like you got something to say.
Nah, agreed. 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 No,
I saw what you did there.
I think one of the things that Will said that I do want to kind of bring out more is the idea that the position that you're in, I think, should play a part in how you're going to price point your product, right? So the president of Capcom bringing this up to me is a bit disgusting. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I don't want to use that word because I don't know him personally. I don't want to slander him, but it's a bit disgusting because it's like, you guys have made so much money, been around for so long. Like, you're one of the original game companies. You've been around since the 1980s, like maybe even the 70s in the beginning. Like, you've made so much money, so much. It's ridiculous. You've made money arcade days. You're still porting games. You've been on almost every system we can at least say since Atari, right? Like they have ported you. You continue to port it. How much more money do you need? Seriously. And then
that's the thing about a company. The whole thing is making money.
No. But let's start, like Azebo is saying, let's start looking at the real facts. Let's start breaking down these budget seats and see if you're really hurting for money. Right. Because if your CEO just let 8,000 people go and just got a $16 million Christmas bonus, right, I think the real question should be something different. Right. Not we can't afford to keep people on payroll. I think you could 100% afford to keep people on payroll. Right. You just don't want to lose the money from your pocket.
Right. Facts. If I'm at the top, I'll cut the fat from the bottom to keep me in a comfy position. I can't hate people for being greedy.
Tell me this 100%. Is losing $2 million a year gonna hurt you?
It depends. How much did I make last year?
If you're making $32 million a year and you're getting $16 million bonuses, do you think cutting your bonus by even half is gonna hurt you?
Absolutely. I just put money down on a super yacht. Now you're telling me I can't buy it? Nah. Somebody's gonna have to go. I'm trying to run it. I'm trying to start my villain CEO era right now. If y'all need me on the board, call me. I will cut the. I'm just playing. I'm playing. I'm not that evil yet. I'm not there yet.
No.
Stop.
But I can understand being at the top and being financially insecure enough to start cutting people. I don't agree with it, but I can see why they would do it.
Numbers look very different when you live beyond comfortable.
Sure.
Numbers look very different. But when you're telling me that you can only afford to pay a QA guy $15 an hour, but you're making $30 million a year plus stock options and a bonus on top of that, something tells me that y'all money management is just not right.
This probably isn't right, but they like it that way, and they're the ones at top, and you're gonna ask them It's hard to ask the people at top to change against them. And I sit in reality where I don't see them switching that up.
No, but
I don't agree with it, but I just see reality being they're not going to do it.
But then you want to pass off these costs onto the consumer, and this is where I'm really having an issue, because you cut the employees. Everyone knows what's going on in our industry. Tons of layoffs. You know, tech is in a very crazy place right now. But with all that being done, like, okay. I guess let's make it very simple. If you increase, let's say games become $80, right? We go, let's say $80 a game, right? Where is that 80 going? Like, to what end? And I guess it touches back on the value thing with Will's. Like, to what end does that 80, reach? Like,
that's rough to charge 80. That's gonna be hard to justify.
No, but But where's it going?
Like they're saying, let's use Nintendo again. Nintendo went from charging $50 for a game to charging $70 for a game. That's a $20 increase, just like the 60 to 80.
Right.
So, question I'm asking now, because you just made a huge jump for these Nintendo cartridges,
right?
They were just $50, and now magically they're $70. So, where is that $20 going?
Right. Inflation
is my question.
Just use the word they're going to use. They're just saying inflation. I mean, that's exactly what they will say.
And that's why I'm not buying any more Nintendo games.
And that is the right of the consumer. You don't have to pay. You don't have to agree with it. Fight with your wallet. I agree with that.
But is it not greedy and sick to even try to pass it off on the consumer, to even say, like, look, we got this money, we made all this money, our budget had not increased in any way. It cost us the same amount to make this game as it has made. Matter of fact, we have spent money in R&D to actually decrease the amount of money and time, because we all know, right, the triangle pillar, right? You have time, money, and quality. And they definitely try their very best to use the least amount of money and take the least amount of time as possible, yet yield the highest amount of quality, which is every producer's battle and bane in all of the game industry, right? But it's like they literally do this, and then so when you save the money and you save the time, why is there an increased cost passed on to the consumer? Like, where does it come from? Like, this is what I want to know.
Because the Nintendo games don't even have to reach 4K quality, which requires significantly more work to make your shit port to that level.
Right.
And to make sure it's compact enough that people can download and play the game.
Right.
Their games only need to hit 900p.
Right.
And a 15-watt pull on a fucking APU, equivalent to what the Steam Deck can do. So you're trying to tell me that when they're not putting in all this work, that their game should also cost the same price? There's no fucking way. Value-wise, it doesn't make any sense.
All right. Then let me go ahead and get last statements on it. Let me get how you really feel. Give me like 1 minute phrase on how you really feel about it. I'll let you go first.
I mean, from my perspective, there is literally no tangible reason why games should increase. The argument seems to be time is passing, everything else is going up, why shouldn't games go up? I think that's sick and that's greedy. This is a medium that we all use to, free our minds from life. It's supposed to free us from stress. It's not supposed to increase stress. And I mean, it's not supposed to get to the point where I'm like debating whether I should pay my cable bill, my light bill, my renter's insurance, or buy a game. Like, it's getting to a point that's ridiculous. All these costs that are being passed off onto the consumer are even more ridiculous. At the end of the day, stop spending money in unnecessary places and put it back into development, and then you won't even need this extra money because it's already within your budget. Your cash flow dictates that you make enough money annually and quarterly, but mostly annually, to cover everything you need to cover. So however we need to reallocate, we need to do that, because right now we're not even in a space where the consumer can spend this type of money. And we need to make sure that we're not setting any bad precedents for other game companies to come in and then this becomes a thing. And then my final statement, something that we kind of touched on, and I think will expand more in his segment, is really making sure that we don't let like Big Brother box out the indie, because what's going to happen is as this price point for AAA becomes so high, indie's gonna have a struggle now trying to make it like, because I mean, at the end of the day, something that we kind of mentioned, I think we mentioned it here, but mostly may have been off camera, was the idea that like the indie studio has to charge way less in order to have visibility in the same space against these companies with much larger price points who are also dominating in marketing at the same time, you know, and with that we end up just with an unbalanced economy that's going to end up boxing out some of these indies and not allowing them to make enough money in the marketplace if consumers don't have the money because they're spending it on all these other games. So that's how I feel about it.
I mean, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And Army Willis, what's your statement? How do you feel about it? Tell me how you really feel.
That's the start of how I feel. I feel like just hurting these people because the prices don't make any sense, and it's greed tactics. It's the same predatory tactics that casinos use that are being used in gaming today. And gaming is supposed to be an art form,
right?
I think Microsoft is going the right way. Because music went from $20 CDs, which you can still buy for $20, but who's buying music? Right. Nobody. You just stream what you want to listen to. So stream the games I want to play when I want to play them. I don't see no problem with that. Right. And I think that's going to help you determine where the money should go based on who's streaming what. Because that's what we do with music. So why can't we do that with everything else? And for the games companies, I think the money is already there.
Okay.
You don't go to a tile company and be like, yeah, you should start charging $70 for every tile. No, they go, how can we make our they say how can we make more profit at the price point we're at?
Right.
Because this is where the consumer is comfortable. So what can we do to make sure we're gaining more profit? Tesla didn't go, let's charge $400,000 for our cars. They're constantly making them cheaper. Right. But guess what? Unlike Toyota, who only make $1,300 per each car that they sell, Tesla make 50% profit or more. Why? Because they made the manufacturing cheaper and more efficient so that they could generate more income. That's no different than any other freaking industry. So why do gaming need more money? Why can't they just make it more efficient? If Destiny didn't take $750 million and spend $500 million of it on advertising, we could have actually got the game they promised at E3, but we didn't because they spent the money in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna say. Okay. I'm gonna say if you want to charge me more money, I'm not paying.
Right.
Now, you heard my communist comrades over here speaking about it. Now let me say it the only way I know how. The American way. The free market will demand how much a game is worth. You want to charge me $70? I expect a $70 freaking good game. If you want to charge me $100, that game better be $100 worth of quality game. I will only pay what I want to pay for a game I truly believe is worth that quality. I don't disagree with what they're saying. I do agree 100%. But I also understand that businesses are only here to do one thing and one thing only: make money. They don't care about how you feel about it. They don't care how things work. They only want enough social credit to screw you over later. So if that's the game, I'm willing to play it, but I'm only willing to play as far as you'll allow me. If you're trying to sell me crap, hey, I've been broken by the industry for so long, I'm jaded. I cannot deny that. That is a fact. But I understand the way I see it. I don't expect the EAs, the Ubisofts, and all these other people to pretend like they care about the general gamer. They only care about how much you're willing to pay in. So if you're willing to give me a quality game and you tell me this is how much it's worth, it better be that price point, and I will meet you there. But if you're telling me this, say, a shitty game is worth $70, I'm not paying. My wallet will not work in that aspect. But that's just how I feel. So,
right, regulation.
That's what we gonna be like. You come to us with the crazy prices. Right. Us, the people with the money, we gonna be like, oh no, trying for transparency. FBI, open up. Let's see where this money going.
Hey, that's up to them to be transparent. I'm not gonna fight against that. But all I have to say is that was an amazing conversation. That was such an in-depth way to look at things. And I think that was worth a like. Shoot, maybe even worth a subscribe. So why don't you go ahead and hit that button real quick. Show your boys some love because they are out here with the passion, the energy, and the wah to keep going. So now, let's talk about another subject. Something that got me curious.
I don't know what's going on with my NVIDIA.
Hey, it's trying to catch you at all your best angles. And since they're all good, it's struggling right now. So, the next subject I kind of want to bring up was, I saw something that kind of caught my attention. The creator of a game called Way Up was unable to keep up with the demand of the game, so he straight up took it off the internet. He removed the game off of Steam because he couldn't keep up with it. He just said he was done. He's working on another game now, and he's no longer doing solo development because it was too much for him. But now that puts me in a weird place. Can the game just disappear off the internet? I mean, I see a lot of copycats coming in trying to take its place, but the original game is now, you can't purchase it. Should he have left the game up and just no longer took care of it and leave it in a broken state? Or what he did was okay? Did he just take his taking care of his personal mindset and mental health and just shut down the game and move on? What would be the best course of action in these places? I'm going to allow this to go to Army to Willis first. See how you feel about it.
Does anything last forever? That'd be my first question. And the answer is no. There's no such thing as permanent except the word permanent. And even that ain't permanent. And I say that because, wow, the original game, what happened to that? The server shut down. And if you wanted to keep playing it, you had to pay for your own server or run your own server to play. If he decides to shut down this game, that's his prerogative. He the one paying for the servers to keep it running, right? So that's his choice. But you own the game. So if you want to keep playing it, what's stopping you from running your own server and keep playing? Nothing. As long as it's a DRM game, you should be able to do what you want.
I guess. I feel like if you blow up in success, like say you put out a game, you didn't expect it to blow up and be successful, and now you have to deal with as DJ Khaled saying, suffering from success. I still think you have to meet the gamers halfway. They love your game. They want to keep playing it. You can't just pull it away from them. That's teasing. You gave them what they want. They want more. You gotta give. No. The market demands.
No, it's just poor management, because that means you didn't take the time to successfully plan for your game to grow.
But at that exponential rate is kind of crazy.
Scale. Always be scaling. Always be scaling.
Right. Always.
I guess. I don't know. It feels weird. I feel weird. Like, I'm happy he took care of himself. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. But to completely erase the game and leaving all these, half-ass games, like trying to fill in the market that he created, or fill in the gap that he created, feels, I don't know, weak. Feels off. Like, maybe we could have met in the middle. Like, patches won't come as quickly, or the game will go into hiatus from time to time, but we'll still get something later. Like, we don't expect this from like AAA games. Like, we expect them to, if something's broken, you better fix it. Like, you got to. So I still expect every developer to meet me somewhere halfway. I don't expect that like AAA quality, but don't just take away from me, especially if I like the game. Like Flappy Bird. Flappy Bird took over the nation for a while. The owner couldn't handle it, and he just straight up deleted it off the App Store. People were selling phones with the original game on them for 3 times the price because he created a market and then he just created a gap that nobody else could fill. Feels weird that you can just do that and not, correct it.
Listen, I mean, what I say is that the majority of indie development and developers, indie studios suffer from a lack of project management, a lack of production. That's one of the things that nobody even thinks about for the most time, or for the most part, when playing or when developing a game. Right? It's like you go in. Most of the times, we know about our design documents. We know what we're going to develop. We might know a little bit about Jira and maybe setting up some tickets, but really like mapping out the entire project, the milestones. I mean, going through Gantt charts. I mean, really planning out, okay, I have a development team. These are my resources. They're going to work for this amount of time per week. and this is going to transfer over to this amount of time per month, and that's how much development time I have. And these tasks we have already pre-estimated based on what developers feel like they can do, and so we know like these tasks take 20 hours, and I have 10 hours this month, and knowing that it's going to take me 6 months to complete this project based on actual estimations, and having like, you know, actual project management stuff like a capacity plan, like an actual like a master task list or a master feature list, and like pretty much everything that it comes down to, like resource allocation and the true things that make a project come out with, I mean, honestly, what makes a project actually be completed, which is project management. Like a lot of times games will just die in development because they have no project management, especially from the indie perspective. You end up making a game and then you just keep going, and you know, eventually you never even release because there was no plan. And so you get scope creep, feature creep, you know, the general stuff that we all know that ends up killing the game, right? So I think because of that, studios like this particular studio, they literally, no one's thinking about what's supposed to be happening in the future. Like, they're not even thinking about any type of live service, any type of anything beyond release, because there was really no project management, no production planning being done at all. Throughout the entire process, they were just kind of making the game and going, and eventually got to a point that they felt like, okay, we can release this, and then they did. But there was never like predefined technical requirements, quality requirements, and things like that for what we were going to be determining as our definition of done for release date, right? So because of that, when this game releases, there's no plan. So it happens, and then it's like, well, what do we do? What happens? So with that, and what I saw your fingers, so I passed it to you. I'm just going to say my personal feeling is twofolded. The gamers are owed something. So I do kind of agree with you there, but there's no project management here, and this is indie, and it's the Wild Wild West, and it's guerrilla development, and you do what you can with one developer, two developer, by yourself, however you can to get their project out, and sometimes that means that there is no planning, right? At the same time,
I'm bitter.
This guy's a human being. He has his own free will, free choice decision to do whatever the hell he wants to do. So, like, if it comes down to it, and it's like, yo, I don't want to do anything, then he shouldn't have to. And if anyone's upset with that, that's their problem. You know?
Yeah, but Will said something off camera that kind of stuck with me. If this is like, this kind of like leaves your like social credit in a way. Like, now you drop another game. Can I trust you to keep up with it? Say it does blow up again. Are you just gonna pull the rug on me again? Like, how am I supposed to trust this is gonna be okay?
Like you're saying, that is true. But here, like Azibo said, it comes down to management, both project management and business management. And a lot of these developers, if they went to school, they should know better. And if they didn't, they still should know better, because you can research these things and you can understand what your projections will look like and what's necessary in order to grow. You can't tell me no person making their first game should be making an online game, because that doesn't make sense. Financially, that makes no sense.
Right.
You don't have the money, you don't have the people, you don't have the hardware, the software, or the infrastructure to run an online game. So why would you do it? Why would you set yourself up for failure?
Right.
If I'm only one guy and I have maybe two people working for me, my game should be reflective of what size team I have.
Right.
And again, that goes back to what Azibo said. Scope.
Right.
You stepped outside the scope of what you can do.
Right.
Fair. I still feel like suffering for success shouldn't be a reason to back out. I say just stretch it out. Take time to recover. Fair. But if you can't handle it, I understand. Hire some people to help you out. He straight up just shut it down. He'd had found the resources to keep it going. He could have kept it going. He could have paid some people to start taking over it. He can work on. He's like he learned from it. He learned from it. His next game, he's actually getting a team, except for doing it by himself. So it's not like it wasn't capable. It's just, I don't know. It feels weird. I'm gonna have mixed feelings about it. And I'm gonna leave it up to you people in the comments. You tell me, am I off here? Should they create holes in the system and then not fill it? Should they just back out once they feel like they're overwhelmed. Do we quit when it starts working for us? I don't know. You people in the comments, you tell me, what's your opinion?
I'll just say the only thing, just to pretty much wrap that segment, is just anyone that is doing indie development, just pay attention to your project management, your product management, and your business development, right? That is how you're developing, which is project management, right? The entire process by which you're developing that is going to uphold your quality standards, etc., your resource allocation, and that your product management, of course, that is what is it that you're making, right? What is as a product, right? Not just as a project, but like as a product, the productization of your game, right? Like, what does it mean to the consumer? What should they be feeling? What should they get? What are your features? What are the unique and the core things about your game that make it stand out in the marketplace? And then, as Will mentioned, your business development, which is your freaking money, right? Like, how do you operate? How are your expenses? How you dealing with your employees? You know, your marketing, your overall business operations side of things. Having all three of those things in check from an indie perspective, even if you're just by yourself, will put you almost light years ahead of your competition, because the average person is not even thinking about project management just that by itself. You really just jump in, make a game, and then it gets to a point where it feels finished, and then they say it's finished, and that's not the best way to develop.
A game studio is still a business, and businesses should have business plans.
Sure.
Ooh, that's a gem. Ladies and gentlemen, are you catching these gems right now? Put your hands out and collect. These gems are just given out for the free, so why don't you go ahead and throw a like on that? Hit that like button, subscribe, because you're going to catch gems like this all the time. Strays are flying. You don't want to catch the strays, but you got to catch these gems. But with that being said, did y'all catch that? Because I got you. Because we're going to be talking about gotcha games, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to ask you questions.
Gotcha.
Because gotcha games are on the rise right now. Like Oaken Trains, Genshin Impacts, anime waifu simulators. They seem to be coming up on the rise to the point where they're the new wave.
Yeah.
But these waves are known for selling waifus to an exorbitant amount. Like, it starts off small, like $5-10 at a point, until you're like 4K in the dirt. So I have to ask, should we start age gating some of these games? Should we like put up like warning symbols into these games to be like, hey, you might get addicted to the style of gameplay? Should there be some kind of regulation to gotcha games? I personally think yes, but that's because I don't trust everybody to spend their money wisely. But how do you guys feel about it?
What's funny is I think one of our earlier episodes, maybe like within the first 5, we were talking about the predatory monetization practices of video games, and we brought up like Grand Theft Auto and how there's like a literal casino in Grand Theft Auto. And then of course how you can like, right, you can buy the shark card, right, use your real money to get Grand Theft Auto money to then go into this casino. You can gamble. It's like literal gambling, right? We spoke about, I think, Diablo 4 at that time, but I think we're talking about Diablo Mobile. I think that was Immortal. And the payrolls and the pay scaling. And then here we are again with gotcha games. I think regulation on video game monetization is coming real soon, and I think we need like it's getting out of control. I mean, I remember Ready Player One, when IOI wanted to take over and they wanted to like put ads on every like square inch of the VR headset so that you can only see a font. It's like, I think we're getting to that point with these games, right? Like every little game now, and granted, indie dev sucks in terms of how you make money, meaning no one knows you don't have a big marketing budget, it's very hard to fight for visibility. So every indie developer, for the most part, is thinking about how to monetize their game, and pull as much money as they can from the player. But I think we're getting gotcha games. Is this where we're at now? Right? What are we at? What is like little lockers you go in and you buy little things that they give you? Is that not a slot machine? Like, are we not?
I mean, you're not wrong. You buy wishes for some of these games, or you buy tickets or something to get characters. That's not guaranteed either.
But they're the equivalent of buying Pokemon cards or Magic the Gathering cards. You don't know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get something, but it's probably not what you're aiming for.
Right.
Yeah, but that feels weird because in those places they even warn you like, yo, this is an addictive game, an addictive way to do these things. And I feel like there should be some regulation on that somewhere.
But there is regulation, and they just skirt the regulation. Because when the regulation came out against the whole gotcha loot boxes, they said, hey, people should know what their chances are when they go into the boxes. So now all the gotcha games list your chances of getting it. It'll tell you you have a 0.0025% chance of getting this gotcha character. And people might look at that and be like, so I can do it 100 times? Hell no.
So there's still a chance.
You can do it. You can do it 100,000 times, and you're still not gonna get that character.
Right.
But now that they're able to list that you're still not gonna get it, people still take the chance because they hope they just gonna be that lucky person, just like with gambling. So the gambling element is still there, even with the warning.
Yeah.
It's not enough. We just need more regulation.
Yeah.
Leave gambling in its category and leave gaming in its category.
Yeah.
I don't want this shit to seep into my music or my movies or my books. I don't want to go buy a book and then 70 pages of fucking blank pages because I just gambled and happened to buy the one book that don't have the rest of the story.
Yeah, that's good.
That would be wild. Imagine buying the next Berserk chapter and find out it's empty.
And any writer out there, that's TM, by the way.
Yeah, you can't
do my shit. I'm suing. Do my shit. I'm suing.
He already got these. He took the loot box books out of the game already.
No,
NFTs in real life.
No, it's ridiculous. This is predatory. It's the only word you can use for it. I mean,
fair.
We know gambling is an addiction. We know that there's tons of regulation just in gambling in general. We can't even go get a casino license in Vegas. Like, there's an entire process by which you have to even go by being approved or certified by the federal government. So it's like, what the hell does any of these game companies think they're doing? Just like, I don't. It's disgusting, man. I can't have to throw that word in there. It's nasty. It's nasty play. It's nasty, nasty practices. It's nasty.
So now that I got you guys on this, I got you guys to agree on the regulation aspect. How would you regulate it? Can you age gate? How would you age gate properly? Like, what kind of steps could you put to actually help in this area? Because
Will said it best.
That's where the hard part kicks in.
Will said it best. I don't want that inside of my game.
But some people do like it.
Then go play. I mean, I personally feel like, for example, when Battlefield came through and they had their character pay for to get the Jedi, to get the this, and to get that, right?
Oh yeah.
Ruined the entire game. That was Battlefield 2, right? Ruined Battlefield 2. Everyone was waiting for it. Battlefield 1 was super dope. So we're like, okay, Battlefield 2 is gonna be crazy, right? That comes out. They do it paywall shit. Kills the game. Right?
Which sucks because the game is popping right now. Popping good and nobody plays it.
But why can't I grind it out and get the character the way I always did?
Because they're going to make the grind so intense to force you to want to buy it.
Exactly. You could get it, but when they calculated it would have took you something around 100 billion hours to get that one character and that's the dirty practice they do. Again, back to the dirty practice.
We all went to full sail. We all graduated from design, at least undergrad. At the very end, saying like, so we all know that if a game is designed.
Look at him bragging about having a master's. He said undergrad. Okay, I got a bachelor's. What up?
But I'm just saying, we all have game design as our fundamental education for at least our collegiate background, right? And at the end of the day, that means that every single part of a game is designed. There is no part of the game that happens by accident unless it's an as-designed bug which would only happen probably at the end of a certification process going into like and I'm talking about now like publisher release at this point where it's like,
look at my educated black brother speaking the fast. Beautiful.
Right, it's like you kill back, whatever. It's not a game crasher, but it still works as designed. Keep it moving if that's what stakeholders agree to. Right. Other than that, there are no accidents. Everything is planned. So then, how do you plan to make someone grind for 1 million hours to get something?
To make the cash shop look better. Because if you don't have to grind and you can just pay your way to the top, somebody will pay their way to the top. Gotta go well hunting when you can.
And like he's saying, that's nefarious practices.
It's nefarious, but it is now. If they want more money, it's working.
Now you're not creating an art piece for entertainment. Now you're just forcing people to spend money so you can line your pockets, which is gambling. It is not gaming, that's gambling. Just because they both start with GA don't mean they the same thing.
Hey, yo, bars. What's a bars? Let me calm down. I as much as I appreciate that.
Separate it. I would say separate it. Just don't. I don't even want to see it. I don't want to have it. I don't think. I think mobile games is really how this crept in there, because it was like, here are these companies that are able to put these ads into their games, and they're able to pull in money if people click on these things. And from there, it just became like, here's my game for free, then pay to keep going. And this was like this little trap that they created in order to kind of capture the mobile game scene and make some money. And somehow, because people have been able to make a lot of money doing that, and I mean, these are like really low-level developers, low-level indies that are like just trying their best to make money. But because they have been able to do so and put themselves in a position to be competitors in their market, other companies who have millions of freaking dollars who don't need to do any of this are now like, how can we overly monetize within this game until everything is a friggin' NFT at this point, right? Like we're just buying NFT holders, and it's sick.
Ain't wrong there. But sick. Now, I just have a question. I want to go into one more topic. Or are we just trying to drop gems?
I mean, I could do one more.
What about you, Will? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, these gentlemen are just so gracious. They're willing to go one more topic in for us. And this topic might be a little wild. Might be a little something. So I'm going to throw one out of left field. Has Call of Duty gone too far? Have we forgotten where we started and where we are now? Because now, if you're looking at what Call of Duty is, I can't remember when the last time I saw Snoop Dogg, Nicki Minaj, and Spawn all of a sudden all fighting for... Absolutely.
Wiz Khalifa.
Oh, and Wiz Khalifa, of course. All in this,
Savage.
All fighting in this battle royale. What has happened to our Call of Duty? This isn't the Call of Duty I grew up with. I have grown old because this makes no sense.
Don't forget whatever that E-girl is they added to COD as well.
Bruh, I don't understand.
Drafted to the military last year. And so
what's like, for real, what's next? Are they gonna just start adding in porn stars to COD?
Don't give them ideas, because they might. Because it seems like Call of Duty has evolved past me.
I'm screaming, yo, get this out of here. Listen, I think your question is rhetorical. You said, has Call of Duty gone too far? I think we all know the answer is yes, right? Like, what is Call of Duty right now? What is it? Like, what is the franchise? Where is it going? What does it have to be?
Bro, they were one of the first people to charge $70 for their games when they already charged $250 for their Ultimate Edition of the game. Like, help me understand why you need $70, bro.
I mean, to afford these celebrities into their product.
You charge me 4 times the price of the base game, only so you can drop the game in a year for the next game. Like, why?
That's the market, baby. The market demands. I don't know what it's demanding and how we got to this point, but it's demanding. Got us here. I'm gonna be honest.
They started it. No lie, they started it with that bullshit, and DOA followed right behind them and had a $10,000 edition of the game that came with one of the characters' a leather jacket.
Yeah, crazy.
Really? Oh,
yes. Why?
Money must not be a real thing for them, because that sounds wild.
No, but this is how you kick the can down the street. Right. Because right after that, Street Fighter had their version that came out with ads in it.
Right.
That was wild. I don't think I'm cool with having ads in my video game. There should be a place where you can go where no ads can infect you. There should be some place where there's a haven. So I agree with that.
No. You in the middle of doing a combo and a Burger King ad pop up. Like, why do I want to see that?
Well, I mean, it depends.
We don't even watch regular TV because we hate ads.
Right, literally.
So I guess that makes. I'm not gonna lie. That might give them a reason why they would follow.
I legit went back and tried to watch regular TV with my family just so I could show my kids how bad it was. I wasn't prepared for how bad it was. It took 9 hours to watch one Harry Potter movie. Just to give you an idea how many ads popped up. It took 9 hours. I was like, bro. I was like, ain't this movie like just 2 hours? Like,
I'm not gonna lie, that caught me by that. Same thing happened with me.
I was like, bro, we ain't even made it to Halloween yet in the movie. Like, what's going on?
Chill.
I tried watching The Amazing World of Gumball with my kids. When it ended, she was like, ooh, next episode. I was like, that's not how it works out here. You got to go with whatever the schedule is. So we all agree Call of Duty has gone a little too far.
Oh my god!
But we can't disagree. We can't disagree.
Nah, but now I'm gonna put a little twist to it, a little spice, as some would say.
Yo,
is it a bad thing? Is it necessarily a negative thing that they're doing this? Because now you get to play as your own celebrities. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the idea of playing as Spawn, but I don't think I'm gonna have Spawn's powers though.
Listen, the video game
that shit is
crashed twice before for this same shit that I'm about to say. Once upon a time, Pong came out. When Pong came out, that was the only game. So every other game that came out was Pong-esque. And so you had Pong in space, Pong underwater, Pong in the club, Pong at the house, Pong at your mom's neighborhood. Cool. Somebody decided to be revolutionary, and they made a space shooter, which, if you really think about it, is Pong vertically. But at the end of the day, when that came out, it was space shooter on the moon, space shooter in the sun, space shooter in the rain, space shooter in the... Okay. Battle Royales came out. We had PUBG. We had a couple of underground things that nobody was really talking about, right? Then that becomes Fortnite. Then comes Apex Legends, Valorant, Overwatch,
Battlestorm with Battlefield.
Shoot, that's wild. Nobody played that one. Not a single person I saw play that.
Remember Call of Duty, that teaser with that game they had? It was an older game, it was an older World War II one, and did a battle royale on that game just to test it out.
Oh, I forgot about that too. Damn,
trash.
Way too many battle royales. That's flooding.
Then they came back.
Cool. Why? I don't want to be Katniss Everdeen, so stop with these battle royale games.
Earlier we were talking about how all the games are like now the same, and it's like I feel like we're headed towards a crash, bro. Like where it's like, yeah, we're heading towards a crash where the consumer is just gonna be like, there are too many of the same products on the shelf, and I don't want it. And when it happens,
I feel like there's just no talent. Because that seems talentless if you're just copying everybody out there. And they might not like it, and they might feel like there's shots coming at them.
That's a straight for sure.
I'm a maverick, so I'm the type of person that likes to go my own way.
Sure.
I don't like following people. So when I see everybody just being sheep, to me, that's a turnoff. So I'm like, I don't want to buy no games.
Sure.
He's a consumer also, so that's a good point. A gamer consumer speaking his mind. And that's a wild shot. Talent.
I think we get there. I think we get to the point where the consumer decides to stop buying. And then when they do, we face another crash, right? Because this happened, when was it? I might be off here, but like, what was it? Like 79, 78, right? When all the consoles came out, it was like 15 million consoles on the friggin' market at the same time. And it was like, no one what to buy.
1982.
1982.
Is that because
big crash, and that crash existed until the Nintendo came out.
And Nintendo saved it.
There was one like right before in like 79 with all of the like
there was one when we had like 50 million PC consoles, like the Odyssey and whatnot. Yeah.
When the other one was like nobody knew which console was the best one, because everyone had a console game version. So it's like we're back here again with this, where it's like 15 Duck Hunters, 17 different Pac-Mans, and it's like I think the consumer's ultimately gonna be like, listen, I'm tired of this shit. I get it together. And then what you're saying is gonna happen, which is the truly talented designers and developers are the ones that are going to rise up, kind of like Atari did,
And
in their time.
I think
Okay.
the worst thing that can happen for us in the game industry is you turn off gamers so bad that they go into their other hobbies. Because we all got other hobbies. Like I'm at the point where I'm so not buying games. I'm buying drones and shit to one wheel, and I'm buying car parts to upgrade vehicles
Right.
and do stuff like that. And I'm gonna get so deep in the woods on this that I'm gonna be like,
Kind of done
I'd
that.
rather do this. I'm already deep into
That's
this. So
a
why would
wild
I stop doing
concept. You push gamers away into other hobbies, but he's not wrong. That's a messed up concept to think about. But
that's real talk.
Damn, another bar. Yo,
You
y'all
gotta start thinking
need to
about
throw a like on that because that was beautiful. Like,
You gotta start thinking about
That is a
all the
dark-
other things
that's a
that you
dark-
like to do.
the
Yeah.
dark timeline, and we could be heading that
Yeah.
way. So it's up to you to like and subscribe to stop that dark timeline from happening.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I have to say, gentlemen,
Yes.
this has been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Speaking your minds, you guys have given so much. But I need to ask for one more thing before I let y'all go. Do you have any gems, as the Dems, for the people? People who want to get into game development, people who want to learn to critique and really open their developer's eye into games. Do you have any kind of like words of wisdom for him?
I'll let bro go first. I went first last time.
I will. It's all to you. If you
practice, tweak, evolve.
Ooh.
That sounds simple, but it's really the best thing. If you got a game design idea in mind, make that game. Then go back and make a better version of that game. And then go back and keep making a better version of the game. Because if you look at the classics, that's what they did. Mario started off real dumb and simple, and Mario got better dumb and simple, and it just gets better and better as it goes in time.
Sure.
Any great game, the series will last if you keep iterating on that series. You look at Match 3 games, they started off real simple. Now they got all kinds of crazy power-ups because they iterate on the game that they're good at. Why? I mean, you don't need to go make some other type of game if you already know how this game works and how those mechanics works, and you know what's needed to keep iterating on that game. And that's the best advice I can give.
That's a beautiful set of advice. What about you, Zebo?
Project management is the key to high quality releases. If you do not plan to make your game will most likely die in development.
This is why he went for the masters, because he just needed to learn to manage all of that. Beautiful gems.
I'm also losing in real life, but I did go back also for that. But I'm saying, like, really, if you want something high quality, it's going to require process. It's going to require you to actually map out how you're going to do the thing and have clearly defined specifications for how it's going to be made, how you're going to judge when it's finished, and by what process you're going to judge it being finished. And that's like the most oversimplified way that I could explain it. But it's like, if you want something of high quality, you're going to need project management. And research would show that most, if not all of the most successfully released products, software, hardware, anything that you could think of that was built over time took project management. And I'm telling you, even if you have one dev, 3 devs, you're by yourself, just mapping out how long it's going to take, mapping out your tasks, right? Mapping out your features, like exactly how you, like, of course, starting with your resources, right? Starting out like who's going to be working on it, how many hours you guys have to work on it, getting your feature list and figuring out what it's going to do. So it's like, once you get your game design document done, getting your feature list and saying, okay, these are the features going to be in this project, in this product, and this is how it's going to be. And then tasking that out into like actual tasks. Like, I'm going to have a character. Well, then you're going to need, the model. You're going to need footstep sounds. You're going to need maybe breathing sounds. You're going to need, movements. If they, Unreal and most game engines give you movement right at the gate, but it's like you want to add a sprint, maybe you want to add a crouch, maybe you want to add a double jump, a power up, whatever. Like that needs to be mapped out and be tasked out all the way from the item creation to the item sound to the logic to how it's all going to be implemented. And then if you're by yourself, going to have to go in there and say to your best ability how long it's going to take you. And your estimate of these task items is going to become how long it's going to take for you to complete the project. Once you have that, then you're going to map yourself against this timeline, and this is how you're going to keep track of if you are on time or not on time. And if you do that, more than likely you will be able to release something, because the idea is to release. And I just want to say that because a lot of times if you don't go through that process, your project's going to die in development, or you're going to go through the process that they used to go through way back in the day before we understood how to make games, which is you just keep going until it feels like it's done. And that is a tricky thing, because feeling like it's done and having a defined definition of done is
just
two different things. Yeah.
Beautiful. And if I'm going to have any words of wisdom, all I can say is make video games. If you're going into the aspect of making video games, make video games. Don't think about it too much. Even though being prepared is 100% right, you should do that. That's also in the process of making video games. You want to stand out in this industry, you want to do something, the best way to do it is make video games. I have a 3-month thing I do every year. From October to December, I call it my monk mode, where I turn off all my video games and all my fun passive stuff, and I focus on strictly making video games. It's the best way to keep your skills sharp. It's the best way to always keep up with the abilities to get better and evolve, is to actually do it. Because practice makes perfect. And if you want to get there, you have to practice and get there. So my gem, simply but efficiently, make video games. And copy a video game if it's your first video game. Just copy something. You don't need to make a magnum opus off the drop. Just find a game that you enjoy, that you like, that brings you joy. Copy it. See how you feel.
Enough tweaks and it'll be something completely different. Be the master of your mechanic.
Exactly.
That's my slogan. Be the master of your mechanics.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Players First. I want to drop us a like, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.